I don't care if you agree with me or not, 95 to 97% of people absolutely despise their job. They're miserable walking in every day, out every day, whether it's a cubicle, whether it's construction, whether it's school, whatever, right? Most people do not enjoy the thing that they do a third of their lives, right? Where they're 8 to 10 hours, not including commute, not including other nonsense, right? Saturdays, Sundays, you don't really get to enjoy it because you're trying to rejuvenate for the following week, upcoming week, right? And me, personally, I'm back into the 9 to 5 rat race, unfortunately, because I need that one thing that we all work these miserable jobs, right? That's to fund our pockets, right? And I want to touch on this little story where it almost got me fired, or so I thought. Um, and it was kind of how I would recommend you to, if you're trying to escape the 9 to 5 rat race, right? But you can't just quit, kind of how I did that. I did that previously. I just quit and didn't have a game plan. That kind of backfired. So that's why I'm back into this rat race, back into this 9 to 5 temporarily, right, to fund my dreams. But I didn't have a game plan. In this little story that I'm about to break down, I thought this would get me fired, but it actually didn't. And this is something you can do in order to fund your dreams if you need to stay at your job but you fucking despise it. This method will allow you to do your passion outside of work, outside of your 9 to 5, right? So let me break it down like this. So what I do for a living currently, this is a job, it's not a career. Remember that. I go into this office. All right, so I'm up in Albany, right? I moved out of my crib. I moved out of my mom's crib. I'm about 2 hours away. And I'm in the same routine that I told myself I would never get into again because I didn't really have a game plan. So I thought, okay, boom. If I'm going to go back into this 9 to 5 lifestyle or this office lifestyle, this corporate life that I really don't want to be in, but it's kind of what I have to do where I'm going to make the most amount of money to fund my dreams, let's go in with some sort of plan. So I accepted a job offer that I didn't really want to take, but going back to the root cause, we need money. We need money to fund the dreams. We need money to do things, whether it's funding your breakaway, whatever. You still need money at the end of the day, even if you want to pursue your passion. You still need to be able to buy food, do that shit. So I thought to myself, okay, let's go in with a game plan. So my game plan was to clock in, clock out, right? And do the bare minimum. I was not going to over exceed. I wasn't going to go above and beyond. I wasn't going to stay an extra hour or an extra 30 minutes or log in early like I normally do, because normally I go 110% at things that because that's what I thought I had to do, right? When you follow go to school, go to college, get a degree, go to work at this 9 to 5, 40 hours a week, right? That's what you're taught. You're taught to give 110% and help someone else's dream come true as opposed to helping your own dreams come true, right? Imagine you spent 8 hours on your dream as opposed to 8 hours on someone else's dream. So in my mind, I was like, fuck that. I'm not going to give more than 60, 50% to someone else's dream, right? I'm going to literally do the bare minimum. I get assigned a set of tasks that I have to do because we open new accounts, right? So we have a queue essentially. Whatever's in your queue, make sure you complete, and then you're supposed to go above and beyond and grab more things out of the queue. You know damn well I'm not doing none of that. I'm barely completing the things I have to do, and I'm doing it like not necessarily taking shortcuts, but I'm not going as hard as I normally would, because I'm not going to put that much effort into something that, oh, there's a fucking bug in here, into something that doesn't have, that I won't see or reap the benefits from, right? You get paid, but other than getting paid, you're not, I don't even see, when we open these accounts, I don't see the whole process, right? It's like, I feel like I'm a cog in a machine. We're only one step to the conveyor belt, and it goes to someone else and goes to someone else and goes to someone else. I don't even see the end product. So it's like the things that I do go into the void, essentially. So I was like, all right, fuck it. We got a plan. We're gonna do the bare minimum, literally. So if my clock in time is 8 o'clock, I'm there like 8:05, 8:15. My clock out time, or supposed to clock out 5 p.m. We're not staying there till 5 p.m., bro. We're gonna cut it a little out a little early, or a lot of people stay till 6. I'll leave right at 5 because that's when I'm scheduled to. I'm not gonna go above and beyond. I'm going to do the minimum that I'm getting paid to do. Let me close this. I'm doing the bare minimum that I'm getting paid to do. Mad bugs are coming in here because that's the only source of light. But I'm doing the bare minimum that I'm getting paid to do in order to not get fired, right? They call this quiet quitting. And this is something I recommend you do if you really don't enjoy the thing that you're doing, but you still need the funds. I started to go on breaks a little bit longer. Meanwhile, I started this job like 5 months ago. So I try to push the limit a little bit. So technically we get an hour break, but most people take a 30. They don't even take their full hour. Me, I'm taking that full hour, right? And there's sometimes where I even drive home and it could be an hour 20, hour 30. I'm trying to push it as much as possible in order to exert the least amount of energy so I have more time to focus on whether it's editing videos, the trading stuff that I do, anything outside of actual work. Because this, if you work 40 hours, 50 hours a week for someone else, you'll never become rich. Maybe you'll just become average, maybe a little bit above average, but you never become rich. You never become self-sufficient. You never have that freedom. That's the one thing I seek. That's the one thing I got into trading, is for that freedom. And I'm gonna break down at the end why I'm even bringing this up, right? Like this whole story of me quiet quitting. It'll have a point to the story, right? I'm not just gonna explain it just to explain it. So I'm doing this, right? The bare minimum, taking these longer lunches, doing what I'm assigned, nothing more, nothing less, just doing what I have to do, right? So yesterday, I have a call, right? I have a call with mad bugs on the window, but I have a call or a meeting. We have these weekly, bi-weekly meetings, which is another thing I hate about the corporate life. You're staring at a screen all day, and then you're doing these meetings that are pointless. So I have these bi-weekly meetings with my team lead, right? So I go into the room. We normally just break down what I want to talk about, and I typically lead the meeting. The team lead just wants to hear us out, kind of like, I guess, not therapy session, but it's kind of where you can express your concerns on the job, whatever, just your thoughts. And I told him straight up, like, this. Meanwhile, I'm like 3 months in, or like 4 or 5 months in, and I had this conversation with them yesterday, and I thought, because normally we would have our bi-weekly meeting, but this was a meeting that was in between the meeting. So I got a little nervous, right? It wasn't the normal, typical bi-weekly meeting. He just scheduled it on my calendar. So I was like, all right, bet. So I'm going into it a little nervous. Maybe they're catching on. Maybe they're catching on to the quiet quitting, right? I go into the meeting. I speak out to him. And I didn't believe what he said, but he was like the first thing that came out of his mouth, right? In my mind, I'm thinking I'm about to get fired, or I'm about to get a warning, I'm about to get something. First thing he says is, "You're doing a great job here. Great first couple of months. You're actually exceeding expectations. You're doing better than we thought." In my mind, I'm like, that makes absolutely no sense, because I'm literally doing the bare minimum. If he's saying all this and I didn't do shit, I'm essentially quiet quitting, right? Just doing what I have to do. If he's saying this, meanwhile, I'm not giving it my all, obviously. That imagine what the praise I would get if I was actually going above and beyond. And I said to him bringing that up made me say this to him. and just gave my true thoughts on the 9 to 5 lifestyle and this job specifically, because this is data entry. All I do is take information from one screen, I put it into a different screen, and then that's what I do for 8 hours a day. It's fucking miserable, and it's trash. So I told him straight up, I was like, I love the people here, like everyone's cool, but I don't know if this lifestyle is for me, especially because a lot of what we do is data entry. We're just putting information from one thing to another. Like anyone could do this, even though it's in the finance world. Anyone could literally do this. Give them a week, not even, give them a day. They can copy information over to one program and to another. It's not my passion in any way. The only reason I'm here is actually for the money. So, and I was surprised to hear you say that I'm exceeding expectations, because I'm actually doing the bare minimum. And I brought up purpose, right? I'm into like stoicism, this philosophy. I brought up purpose, like our purpose here on earth. And once I gave him a little spiel on how we spend the majority of our lives in this building or whatever your job is, right? You spend more time with your coworkers than your family. I brought all this up. And then this took me by surprise. Like 100% took me by surprise. I thought I would get something like backlash or I don't know. But he says this. He says, I 100% think the same way as well. This I was like, what do you mean? He was like, do you think I enjoy this? Do you think I enjoy what I'm doing? No, the only reason I work as hard as I work is because I have a wife. We're buying this house, or newly engaged, so he's about to have a wife. He has to pay for a house, the ring, all this stuff. He's only a couple years older than me. I'm 28. He's like 30. He's like, you think I'm passionate about this? No, hell no. I think about alternatives all the time. I think about making the move all the time to a different field, or I wanted to be a lawyer, but I actually just took this because it's the first thing I got. He kind of gave me his whole life story, of life spiel, and it kind of reminded me of just myself, right? I didn't expect him to say that, because outside looking in, like just viewing him from my perspective, it doesn't seem like he thinks the same way as me. And like, fuck this corporate life, fuck the 9 to 5, because he just going ham, or so I think, right? Outside looking in, more people than you think that you work with, what's your corporate, construction, anything, more people, more often than not, actually don't even want to be there, right? And that, like, I mean, that's true, because it's kind of hard to, like, I don't know. There's people that actually enjoy the things that they do every single day for 8 hours a day. And I feel like I was put here for a bigger purpose. And he says, I 100% completely agree. But sometimes in life, you have to do what you got to do. And I respected that 110%. But the difference between me and him, and this is what I want you to take from this, the difference between me and him is, he had these dreams, he had these aspirations of being a lawyer, or going to law school, doing this, that, and the third. He's in his 30s, right? At some point, you have to take a leap. At some point, you have to take a leap of faith, have some sort of plan, whether it's you have your expenses for 3 months, whatever. You have to take some sort of leap in order to do what you need to do to pursue your actual career. Because if you just keep going through the motions, you'll be 30, 40, 50, and then be like, damn, where did the time go by? I was literally 25, now I'm 55, and I'm stuck at some job, or I'm stuck doing a thing that I don't want to do, and I'm just getting by, or I'm doing a little bit better than normal. And that's not the life I want. It never was the money, it's always the financial freedom. But a lot of people think this way, but a lot of people don't act on these urges, act on these feelings. They just get stuck in their ways, and then 20, 30 years go by, and you're pretty much there. You've been somewhere you never wanted to be. You have kids, so it's kind of hard to make that leap, you know? So the reason, to kind of sum everything up, and the reason why I wanted to bring that story up is one of two things, right? The first one, I do recommend you quiet quit if you need the funds, but you want to pursue and make your dreams come true, right? Do that outside your 9 to 5. Still do what you need to do. Don't do less than what you need to do, but do the bare minimum in order to get by so you don't raise any flags. But you have to also be able to not waste so much time in a space where you're miserable, because at the end of the day, we have one life. At the end of the day, you don't get a second chance at this. You're only 20, you're only 30, you're only 40 once. This is the youngest you'll ever be. So don't get stuck in a loop thinking, oh, maybe when this happens, then I'll do this. Or maybe you just got to sack the fuck up and take the leap, which is my second point, is go ahead and make the jump, but have a plan. Don't be like me where I just quit, no plan, right? I thought you should just always leave, no plan, no security blanket. Have some sort of security blanket. But if you're mentally so fatigued, just drained from that job, some people function best when their back is against the wall. So it's all based on your dilemma, based on your responsibilities, based on your age, based on a lot of variables, right? So take this with a grain of salt. But I just wanted to give my 2 cents on my POV and how, if you're feeling this way, you're not the only one. And the people that you think absolutely love their jobs on the outside, on the inside, they really don't. They're just there because they have things that they need to take care of, right? We all do. But the thing that separates the financially free from the people who are working for someone is the people who are financially free took a leap, whether that leap means less sleep while you're at your 9 to 5, or that leap means leaving your 9 to 5 completely and focusing, going full speed ahead at your dream. Whatever that entails for you, I recommend you do that. And I just wanted to give my 2 cents on that, and hopefully that gives you some insight on what you should do if you are thinking about either leaving or pursuing your passion outside of your job. So I hope that helps. If it does help, you made it this far, I would appreciate if you throw a sub, throw a like, leave a comment, whatever it is, man. Just let me know your thoughts on what you thought, right? And stay tuned for more.